After doing over $100 million in revenue for my clients in my advertising agency with Facebook ads, once I understood this one thing is what allowed me to start scaling Facebook ads and have a higher success with Facebook ads. And in today's video, I'm actually breaking down this one simple thing that once I started applying, allowed me to have significantly more success with Facebook ads. Let's just kind of dive into it real quick. The thing we're going to be talking about today is called bottlenecks. Now, this one thing right here, once I understood this, not just from the actual terminology, but the actual application of it, this allowed me to immediately start to be able to identify what deals I wanted to turn away at the ad agency and what deals I wanted to take on by the likelihood of how easy it would be to get a client results. And what I like to do is first understand what is a bottleneck, map it out, and then run the numbers. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and start looking at the ad account. I'll start looking at what is the CPC, what is the conversion rate, and then what is the AOV. And these will be what I call like the different key levers we can pull inside of the account that's going to generate the highest likely possible outcome of us scaling those ads based off how easy it is to fix those key things. So let's just say, for example, we start looking at cost per click. This is going to be creatives right here. And there's a lot of different strategies we can deploy for creatives. We can do, we can change the desire. We can change the awareness. We can change the sophistication. We can go ahead and, do video versus photo. We can go ahead and, test long versus short. We can do polished versus what I would say, amateur right there. So there's a lot of easy things we can do. And I would say even ad account structure, right? So there's different things we can pull for CPC, cost per click. Now, why do I look at cost per click when I've always been about, CPA, for example, cost per purchase? Is that CPA will take both of these into account, whereas CPC is specific to just Facebook. That's the thing. So CPC allows me to just see Facebook individually, whereas CPA takes CPC and CVR into consideration, because we can have a really horrible CPC and an amazing conversion rate, and overall cost per acquisition, cost per purchase will look good due to that. So for me, I want to identify specifically the bottleneck further within the funnel. Now, with that being said, if we have an amazing cost per purchase and a terrible cost per click, I'm still making my decisions based off cost per acquisition. I'm only looking at cost per click when things are not going right. When things are not going the way we want it, then I'm looking at cost per click from a perspective of, okay, what are the individual little levers between the ad account, landing page, and AOV that we could actually take action on to improve performance? So these are different things we can do for cost per click. If we're already taking action on all those things and we're spending a lot of time, energy, and effort in, like, let's just say, for example, we have $1.35 CPC, and that's not going down, and we're taking a ton of effort on these things, the reality is that it's going to be a very small probability of us lowering that cost per click. So then we go ahead and start moving to CVR. And now let's just do a new page. CVR, all right? So there's a couple things we can do for CVR. CVR is just, the percentage of people that we convert. We send traffic to a website, to a page, and then the number of people that convert equals CVR, basically. First thing I like to look at for conversion rate, a lot of people like to immediately go to these fancy pages and stuff. Honestly, the first thing I like to look at is just a product page itself. Little things. We're going to just change the offer itself. I know I have a student right now. He's been playing around with different bundle deals where if you purchase 2, you get 1 free. If you purchase 3, you get 2 free. Things like that. So he's been split testing different offers right there. You could also do gift add-ons, other things if you basically buy now. If you look at AG1, if you go to their one-time purchase, it's $99. If you go to their subscribe and save, it's $80, and you get a free shaker cup a free, it's like canister to put the powder in. You get a travel pack. You get a spoon. You get all of these free bonuses if you purchase or subscribe and save. So just simply tweaking the offer can improve conversion rate. And this will also touch a little bit on AOV as well. Now, the next thing is just copy improvements. So for example, working with this particular client or particular prospect, actually, they're about to come on. And this one prospect right here, we did an audit of their ad account. And when we did an audit of their ad account, we realized like the creatives look good. We jumped to their product page, and their product page did not have any terminology related to what they were seeing in their ads. Inside of their ads, they were calling a lot about diabetes, losing weight, things like that. We go to their product page, it really doesn't like hit on that too much. So we need to look more specifically there at, okay, hey, can we tweak this product page to speak directly to the customer avatar? As far as making these tweaks to the product page, I'm not split testing. I'm not setting up ABO tests or AB tests and stuff like that. Like I'm literally just going make the adjustments to the page and let it roll. If it improves performance, I'm gonna leave it on. If it doesn't improve performance, I'm just gonna go remake those edits to bring the page back. Keeping it very simple here. Simplicity scales. I'm a man of simplicity. Everything I do is simple for that exact reason right there. Next thing for product page, copy improvements will just simply be taking the terminology, things you're seeing in the ads, tweaking the page to make sure it hits on those things again. Other things I've seen work well for product page is just visual elements. I would say just better product photos, better like diagrams and different little other elements on the page, just to make it easier for the consumer to kind of break down the information around the product itself. That works really well. Now, if all of that is already being done and like we can't beat the CVR on that product page already, this is where we'll look at additional landing pages, or let me just call this pre-sale pages. And this will be like advertorials, VSLs, quiz, funnels, listicles, and lastly, there's be long form sales page. And these will just be different pre-sale pages we will test. I don't really have a specific order for which one I'll test. Usually it kind of goes down to what market awareness we're hitting on inside of our ads. If we're more unaware, problem aware ads specifically that's crushing it, then I'll go and more test advertorials. Whereas I see like listicles work better for solution aware, product aware. Same thing for long form sales page. Long form sales page will work really well for more product aware, solution aware. And then you have like VSLs. VSLs work really well pretty much at any stage. I usually test VSLs after I have a winning advertorial or something like that, because what'll happen there is that VSL will just simply be a visual or a video version of that advertorial or listicle right there. And then quiz funnels work really well, solution aware as well. So it just kind of depends what stage of market awareness we're advertising to. And then I just go build that pre-sale page. I will duplicate that winning ad we have and just simply change the URL of that ad. So if we have like our CBO campaign and then we have like the ad sets inside, I will just go ahead and like duplicate that ad set and then just change URL for ads. Boom, and then launch. Still within that same CBO campaign we're advertising into. So I'm not creating a new CBO or anything like that. And then I'll also set a $10 min spin on that, just to make sure you get some spin right there. If it takes off, it scales, it works well, cool, I leave it on. If it takes off and scales, or if it takes off and hurts overall performance, I'll turn it off. If it doesn't get spin after a couple of days, I'll turn it off. Very simple there. This is all the things we can do for conversion rate. Same thing like cost per click. If we're already taking a lot of those actions, then all I'm going to do is simply move on to the next thing, which is AOV. Here's where we can go back to the offer as well. Certain offers will have a higher level of AOV. Like if we do, for example, free gifts, bonuses, add-ons, things like that, and like tweak the offer a little bit, that will go ahead and give us a higher AOV. Next one is like buy two, get one free, frequently bought together. This is a really good one for what I call the product page itself, where you're cross-selling, not really upselling or cross-selling. So it's like, hey, if you bought this Elgato mic, a lot of people also bought the Elgato camera and the Elgato Streamlight as well. And it's like, oh shit, yeah, it's exactly what I'm trying to do. I add all of those to the cart together and it gives me some level of a discount. Then the next thing you have is in-cart upsells. In-cart upsells, this is just essentially like after you add things to cart. I like to look at it from the perspective of, you go to the gas station, get your little C4 energy drink right here. You walk up to the cash register and that's where they have like all the packets of like gum, little candy packets and like lighters and a couple other things right there. So it's just small little things you can toss in that are like no-brainers basically. So like if you bought this Elgato mic, maybe it's some type of like 30-day free trial of some editing software, or maybe it's like a mic stand, maybe it's like a mic kind of like thing you hook up to the desk to where you can put the mic on the thing, like one of those like little arms right there. So there's other little no-brainers. Maybe it's like literally just a wire to plug into the computer to the mic right there because the current one doesn't have it right there. Now, the next thing we have is post-purchase upsells. This one right here, this is one of my favorite ones we've been geeking out on lately for post-purchase upsells. And post-purchase upsells right here, this is where we essentially just go ahead and we upsell people on things that's going to further help their situation. So maybe it's something like potty training underwear. All right, that's what people bought. Then the next thing for the first upsell, I always like to make the first upsell 2x product price right here. So this one will maybe be a potty training bundle. And like, let's just say this one's $30. Let's say this PT bundle will be $60 right here. And this will be post-purchase upsell for this potty training bundle. It comes with a few other different products that will help people go ahead and potty train their kid and increase the effectiveness. Do not do just more of the same product. I see more of the same product always being the lowest possible upsell take rate. You need to do other products that will help people's desired situation. So if I'm selling people on potty training here, I'm basically selling them on the desire, this will help potty train your kid. So now I want to offer more products to help them potty train, which is the potty training bundle right there. So hopefully that makes sense. Now, from the potty training bundle, this is where we'll move forward to our first downsell, which will be 50% of the product price. And this will be what's called a downsell. So if we have a $30 product, we upsell them for $60, then the bottom one will be $15 for the downsell. The downsell, all I'm doing is taking from the bundle and I'm just pulling one product from the bundle. So maybe the bundle, we offer like 5 different things. And then the downsell, we're just removing 4 of those things and just leaving one thing right there. So it's like, for me, I sell people my ebook. And then from the ebook, I push people over to my inner circle. And my inner circle gets like my course. It gets one-on-one calls with me, group calls on a week-to-week basis. You get group chat, all of these amazing things. Then my downsell, if you don't take action on the inner circle, which is my monthly coaching program, and it's a monthly fee, then you get just my course for one flat rate. So you remove all these other things and you just get the one thing versus all the other things you get in the inner circle. So like that's the downsell right there. So same thing here. We'll be asking ourselves, are we taking strong action on this? Are we taking strong action on this? Are we taking strong action on this? And I'm simply looking for what is the thing that no action is being applied. So if we're taking and spending a ton of time on creatives, we're taking a ton of time on AOV, for example, but we're spending no time landing page testing, then the likelihood there of increasing the landing page conversion rate will be the easiest course of action to make numbers look right. Then we can start scaling. Now, if you don't know how to make numbers look right, we're actually going to jump into my computer real quick here. And this will be a free sheet that you guys can have per download. And all we're going to simply do is just run some numbers real quick. For example, here, let me actually just look up this one. Like, this is like a worst case example right here. We comment in an account, we're spending $3K a month, which is about $100 a day. They have a $4 cost per link click and they're testing a ton of creatives. They have a 2% Shopify conversion rate, but they're not testing anything related to landing pages or AOV, but they're testing a ton of ads. Like obviously that cost per link click is really bad, but they're also testing a ton of creatives and maybe their creatives look good. So now it's like, okay, well, honestly, how do we make this work? I don't know. Let's just say we test a bunch of landing pages. We get that to 3%. Then we also improve that. And I don't know, let's just say we get that to $75. That'd be like a miracle right there. More realistic, probably about 60. Cost of goods may rise also a little bit just because we have like higher AOV. Then it's like, fuck, we're still losing money. Can we spend more to offset that? No, we're still losing money. So like in this case right here, if we're testing a ton of creatives, it's looking good. We test a couple different landing pages, tests, different things to improve AOV, and like we still cannot make this profitable. You have a product issue, not a creative issue, not a landing page issue, not an AOV issue. But let's just say, for example, we're spending $3,000. Let's bring that back to $3,000 and we get the cost per link click down. I don't know, let's just say 2%, put that back to 60, 3%, and $17 and All right, cool. Now we're at least on the right track right here. I feel like something is not right. No, that's it. And then let's just say, for example here, this is the conservative first 30 days is what I like to always map out, which is conservative for me is just like a 10% increase. Something too crazy. It's a 10% improvement. But aggressive is like where everything goes right. Like, for example, we had a client that was doing like $30K a month, and we had no idea that 2 months later, they were going to be doing $3.5 million a month because literally everything went right. So same thing here. We like to map out those numbers. Ideally, I want to be able to just make them crush it and do amazing with a conservative 30 days. So if I can't do a 10% decrease on cost per link, like a 10% increase in AOV. Oh, wait, that's what I forgot to do right here. Let's just move that to $70. Boom. Okay, we're within reason. If I can't do a 10% decrease on cost per link click, a 10% increase in AOV, a 10% increase on conversion rate, and you still will not be profitable. Usually from there, it's a sign to get rid of the product page, or test a whole new product page, or test a whole new product, get rid of that product. I don't want to usually be an aggressive. Aggressive right here is like where everything goes well and we crush it. I'm not saying that it's not possible, but it's least likely. It's just the least likely outcome right there. So in this case, let's say we get all the way down to $1. Let's say they weren't testing any creatives at all. We get it down to $1. We get AOV up from, let's see. Oh, actually, it was originally it was 50. So let's just say we get this all the way up to $75. Conversion rate 3.5%. And let's do $20 right there. All right, cool. Now we're profitable. We can go ahead and start adding zeros behind that ad spend and start scaling and spending more money. So I always like to go ahead and model these numbers out. Again, just go ahead and put your current numbers from the last 30 days. So like, let's say you spent $3,000 over the last 30 days. Maybe you have $1.75 cost per link click. You have an AOV of, let's just say $50. You have a conversion rate of 2%, just because that's pretty average for Shopify. And your cost of goods per AOV, usually your expenses per AOV, most people have about 30% of expenses. So 50 times 0.30, it's gonna be $15. I'm gonna leave it like that. And then what I essentially wanna do right here is start looking at it from this perspective. So conservative first 30 days, this is a 10% decrease. So $1.75 times 0.10, that's a 17 cents basically. So let's just remove 17 cents. That's going to go down to $1.58. AOV, let's just say we have a 10% increase. That'll be $55. Shopify conversion rate, let's say if we improve that by 10%, that's going to be 2.2%. And then cost of goods per AOV will just slightly go up due to that right there, 50 to 55. Cost of goods will go up just because like we're probably also doing like upsells and stuff. We have like other products and stuff now. In this particular case right here, we're still negative. If we can't make your product work, or you can't make your product with just a 10% increase on these key metrics after testing a product, or like you start pushing out a funnel and you're testing a ton of creatives, you're testing various different things for AOV, and you're testing a bunch of things for conversion rate, and you're not getting the results you want, it's a product issue, new product. Now, hypothetically, we get this down to $1 right here. We get this to, I'm going to leave this at $55 or $60. And let's just say we get this to 3%. Cost per goods AOV. Like this takes a substantial amount of work to make the business profitable. I'm not saying work is bad. It's just when it takes a ton of work and there's no just clear, quick fixes for the bottleneck, and you're already taking a ton of action on that thing, the reality is that the probability of you scaling is significantly low. It's not impossible, it's just significantly low. And oftentimes this is when it's like, okay, hey, you just need a whole new product here because you're already doing everything for creatives, you're doing everything right for AOV, you're doing everything right for landing page testing, and you still haven't found a new winning landing page, a new winning creative after testing 60, 100, 200 creatives and dozens of landing pages and dozens of various different products for upsells. You have a product issue here, not a creative issue, not an AOV issue, not a conversion rate issue. Go change the product. And then ideally, we want to see profitability on this $100 a day of spend without really doing much. Then as we start scaling, we start running into new roadblocks where, maybe we are profitable right here in the beginning. And I don't know, let's just say 3% and let's just say $60, put that to 17. We're profitable in the beginning, but then as we start scaling, we start seeing, okay, hey, cost per click is starting to rise now because we're spending more. And we haven't done anything for AOV in a while. Let's say if we can boost that AOV up. We haven't tested any landing pages. Let's say if we can boost that conversion rate up. All of a sudden now we're profitable right there. And now we can start spending more at Facebook ads. So once I understood this is what allowed me to just make it just so much easier to start scaling when it came down to Facebook ads. And hopefully this helps out you guys, make it a little bit easier for you, identify that bottleneck, and then execute on those different actions to solve that bottleneck. And then this calculator will be below for you guys to solve. If you have, identified the bottleneck and you want my help to overcoming that particular bottleneck in your business, then click the link below to have Nick Theriot mentor you. We'll hop on one-on-one calls together and go through your ad account and give you more direct things of which you can do to fix that bottleneck and help you scale your ads. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button for new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. My name is Nick Theriot. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.